5 Ram trucks built to serve.
Back here, first things first, we're now joined by Bart Scott. Good morning, Bart.
Hello, Coach.
Good morning, Bart.
It's our first time meeting.
First time.
It's not like two good
First impressions?
minds together.
This is not the time. All right, well, we got a
Trying
lot
to drift behind, Coach.
to talk about. Big Sunday yesterday. Let's start with Dak and the Cowboys. Bart, they were hosting the Minnesota Vikings, two very similar teams.
Yeah.
Pick this one up late. Dallas driving down 4th and 5. Dak's pass to Zeke incomplete. Quiet night for Ezekiel Elliott, just 63 yards, 47 rushing, no scores. Vikings pressed hard, left it open for one last Cowboys try. Dak's Hail Mary intercepted. Cowboys lose 28-24. So Dallas is now 5-4 on the season. Here's quarterback Dak Prescott after a disappointing loss.
I've said it before, we're going to lock arms. We're going to get better. This tape has a lot for us to learn from. Sure, it's not the outcome that we wanted, but has a lot for us to learn from and to grow from, and we'll move and become better because of it.
All right, Bart, if you're looking to blame someone for last night's Cowboys loss, it certainly can't be Dak Prescott, who had a tremendous game. Who would you place last night's loss on?
I would say Jason Garrett. Simply because his team continues to come out slow. They're playing from behind, and it takes tremendous energy to be able to come from behind when you get off to a 14-0 start. They've maybe to close the gap, but it leaves small room for error when you continue to start off slow. And they need to figure out why are they starting off slow. They're great at making these adjustments, in-game adjustments, but they're starting off slow. Dalvin Cook was great in just controlling the line of scrimmage, and you're really starting to see on the other side Gary Kubiak's influence on this team, because you see this one cut, press the hole, one cut, get vertical, and it starts to wear on the team. And they also took advantage of a very fast defense and used their athleticism and speed against them. And this was just a tough game. We continue to, really try and bury Kirk Cousins, but we have to give him credit because he showed up. And listen, he didn't have to be Dak Prescott, but he was good enough for that football team. He managed the game. He took care of the football. And at the end of the day, they got the victory. You have to give credit to the Minnesota Vikings for going on the road in a tough environment and responding.
And since Week 5, Kirk Cousins is first in the NFL in passing touchdowns, passer rating, and plays of 20-plus yards. Ever since Adam had apologized to Thielen and Diggs demanded a trade, he's been excellent. But let's stay on the slow starts for a moment. Coach, this is something you and I have talked about off the air that you dealt with once, to the point to where you brought in outside help. Like the slow starts can be an epidemic almost, something that you're searching for the way to get over. I don't know if you want to share the story, but what do you attribute the slow starts to?
Well, look, it happens in a lot of different ways, okay? Sometimes it can be the slow start at the start of the game. Sometimes it can be coming out at halftime and not being able to perform there. Sometimes it's how you play on the West Coast. There's these different situations that for some reason teams don't respond very well to. And you try as a head coach different things. And you may change up the schedule. You may change up the first 15 plays. You may defer. You may take the ball. You've seen it throughout the course of the season where coaches try different things when there's situations like this. But what can happen is when you spend so much time harping on it, focusing on it, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and everybody is so tensed up at the beginning of the games that it's self-defeating, and I think you almost got to take a step back, relax, and see where that goes.
And it leads to bad decisions, like kicking a 57-yard field goal to start the football game on 4th and 6. The only reason you do that is because it's like, damn it, we're going to be the first to get points on the board. Now, I understand the Cowboys kicker is one of the best kickers in NFL history from 50-plus. And from 60-plus, he has had immense success. I get that. But you don't risk putting your defense in that bad of a position or that early in the football game when you don't have to. You don't know what version of Kirk Cousins is coming out. You don't, but you do that because, like you're saying, you're pressing, and it's hard to put this on Dak because Dak was so great yesterday. It's one of the best games he ever played. But when he wasn't good, it was the first few drives. And go ahead, Coach.
Well, I'm just saying the flip side of this is, and the upside of this for the Cowboys is, they know they can come back. They know that they can overcome a slow start. They've done it a bunch of times. So there is a resilience that's built up that some other teams don't have, where it's got to go good early, or otherwise they go into the tank. The Cowboys have shown resilience, and to me, that's a strength that should help them as the season goes on.
And the slow starts at 3 first-half points against New Orleans, down 31-3 to Green Bay, down 21-3 to the Jets, down 12-3 to the Giants before the Giants made some questionable mistakes at the end of that half to give the Cowboys a lead at the end of the half, down 14-0 yesterday. But the problem for Jason Garrett, Bart, to your point, is that the questions about coaching weren't just in the first quarter. It was then at the very end of the football game when we have now seen the type of game Dak is playing, where Dak is completing 3rd and longs repeatedly, where he is distributing the ball to Cooper, to Cobb. Jarwin had a big play. He's playing one of the finest games I've seen him play. You're on the final drive, down 4, so you got to have a touchdown. You don't even face a 3rd down until late in the drive because Dak is being so effective on 1st and 2nd. You have 8 plays on that drive leading into the 2nd and 2. 7 of them are Dak Prescott passes. 6 of them are Dak Prescott completed passes. And then Zeke, for as good as he is, he's not been a great short yardage back, and he's not been a great red zone back. You take the ball out of Dak's hands on consecutive plays. 2nd and 2, Zeke. It doesn't work. 3rd and 2, Zeke again. And then 4th and 5, you throw it to him. That I'm not going to put on the play call because Dak made the decision to throw it to him. But to take the ball out of Dak's hands when he's having one of the best games he's had in years, I think this is a top 5 game of his career. Well, I don't know if that's Jason Garrett or Kellen Moore because I'm not exactly certain who's actually calling the plays. But that was a killer for Dallas because much like the Jets game where they started slow, they had an opportunity to win it at the end, and they did not, and that's why they find themselves in the position they're in.
Well, 3rd and 2 is one of those downs where it can be either or. Now, Ezekiel Elliott has been your workhorse, and I know he's been contained that game, but you understand that you're going for it on 4th down, so you're hoping that Zeke can maybe pop one because they're defending against both the run and the pass. Now, the pass on the last one, when you look out there, you're Dak Prescott. And I don't know if everybody really knows how good of a football player Eric Kendricks is, but you kind of think you like that matchup against your best guy, on the team
Zeke,
that can run, one-on-one that can run pretty good routes. But, Kendrick just made a great play, and you have to tip your cap to him and say, hey, he made a great play. We went with our best player. We liked the matchup, and, congratulations to him.
Coach, does a loss like this for the Cowboys make you rethink where they will be sort of towards the end of the season, whether they would even make a playoff run at this point?
Well, the whole season for me has made me concerned or wonder where they are. When you start out 3-0, and those teams weren't the toughest teams that they were going to face.
You're being kind, Coach.
And then you go 0-3, and then it's just been so up and down. You don't get the consistency. And when I hear Nick say, you take the ball out of Dak Prescott's hands, I don't think anybody's ever said that in relationship to the Cowboys versus Dak versus Ezekiel Elliott. So I understand why they would go to their best player and who everybody would arguably consider their best player in those clutch moments.
And I understand the best player holistically. I also understand the best player in the context of the game and, to use a basketball term, the hot hand. And by the way, on 2nd and 2 or 3rd and 2, what happened to getting Dak Prescott on the move and letting him use his arms or his legs? Like that, we have now seen, it's a gotta-have-it moment that you talk about all the time, much like the 2-point conversion against the Jets. And you're got to have a moment. You go to your 48-year-old tight end. You're got to have, in the Jets game, you're got to have a moment here. You throw, and now, granted, I understand that Kendricks made a great play, but that's also a hard pass. Like that is, in order to get 5 yards, that ball's traveling 25 yards because it's going so horizontally. And if Kendricks doesn't make the play, Zeke still has to reel it in, get both feet down. I feel like they could have been put in a better position. And in a year where Jason Garrett doesn't have a contract extension, where he is one of the 6 most tenured coaches in football, and the other 6 are Bill Belichick, Sean Payton, Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, and Pete Carroll. What do all of those guys have in common? They've all been, it's like, which one of these is not like the others? And it's pretty damn obvious which one of these is not like the others. And so they've all been to the Super Bowl. They've all won a Super Bowl. They all have at least 4x the playoff wins as Jason Garrett. Moments like this, and Belichick's numbers are just cartoonish. But it's moments like this that make you feel like, man, when are the Cowboys going to be the team we think they should be? I feel like you're angry.
I'm just saying, Ted Marchibroda, you always say in big moments, think players, not plays. And it's hard to criticize Jason Garrett in big moments to going to Ezekiel Elliott and giving him an opportunity to win the game. The last pass, there were options. He chose the matchup against a linebacker with inside leverage. But if he hadn't given the ball to Zeke one of those 2 downs, we'd be sitting here going, how could you not give the ball on 3rd and 2
Lynch, right?
to your greatest player?
It's just been such an inconsistent season for the Cowboys that you really, honestly, week to week, don't know exactly who they are and how good they could be, and if you can trust them.
And they don't know either.
They don't know either.
November and December comes down to these type of games with seeding and things get tight. Pressure bust pipes, and now the Philadelphia Eagles are hot on their heels.
And you might be right, Coach, that if they hadn't given the ball to Zeke, we'd be talking about how do you not give the ball to Zeke. We also might have been talking about a Cowboys comeback win to put them at 7-3, and now we don't know.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up, how shocking was the Chiefs' loss to the Titans?
They would have been, pardon me.